block, baby.
You know what this about? Yeah. Cause you know what I'm about, nigga. What up, Black and up the clown. Yeah. Look. You niggas just now getting off the porch. I've been in the mix since 1994. 45 caliber extendo. Now who's that peeking through my window? I guess you niggas got the wrong info. Fuck up with me, you better know what you been for. I will catch you niggas slipping, make this family think you missing. Have them kicking out that ransom for the kinfolk. Pull up on the block in the bad motherfucker wearing all my ice. Won't let a nigga touch you. I don't fuck with suckers when I see him I duck 'em. They say the fans watch still yelling out fuck 'em. I only fear God, I ain't worried about nothing. From the cradle to the grave, motherfucker, I'm bugging. Think a bitch down till she yelling I'm coming. Then I'm counting.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's up?
Everybody all right? I hope so. This Any Everything podcast by two kings, King Perez.
King DJ.
This episode
6.
episode numbers, nigga, you just put up 4. Episode number 6 on y'all. What's
6
up,
for
man?
life.
6 weeks strong. One thing we definitely want to do is we definitely want to say thank you to everybody that's been viewing, subscribing, adding, paying attention, sharing. Bro, we be getting a lot of love, bro.
Yeah.
We get and we truly appreciate everything that all of y'all are doing to support the two kings. But good conversation today. Today, what we want to start doing is you guys can inbox us anything that y'all want to hear us talk about, anything that y'all want to hear us discuss. Inbox it to us. Post it on Any and Everything podcast by Two Kings on Facebook. Make sure y'all please go and subscribe to us on YouTube, Any and Everything podcast by Two Kings, and we also on Instagram at Any and Everything by Two Kings. So please give us a strong following. The support that you guys have already been giving us is amazing. So continue it. Keep it up, please, and thank you.
And any questions you got during the podcast, tap in.
Please
Let
do.
us know.
Please
you
do.
know, give us your point of view.
Please do.
And we'll kick it with you.
Yeah, we sure will. But today on episode 6,
Dang, dang, dang.
what we here to discuss is demasculinity and black men in America. Demasculinity and black men in America.
So, do you think it's like a conspiracy or a gay agenda?
Yes, I do. I
Really?
do. I truly do. And this is why the research that I've done throughout my years of researching different things. When we were in Africa before we came over here, I always say before we came over here, we didn't host that type of stuff. We didn't host that type of behavior. That's a European act. Once they got us over here, the big and the strong, they would literally have us fighting and Mandigo partying and have us fucking each other.
So that's like referring to the buck breaking.
That,
Exactly.
Yep. So what it was is it decreased the population of blacks, of African American. How? Because if me and you gay, no homo, I'm far from homosexual. I'm far from homosexual. If me and you gay and it's 2 women right here and we supposed to be getting on them, but we kicking it with each other, how they gonna procreate?
Right.
You feel me? We over here having recreational sex, but there's no way that they can procreate without us.
So you saying it's agenda to lower the birth rate
Yes.
of the black community?
Yes, because who has more babies in the African American culture?
And I mean, I would agree with that. If you look at Planned Parenthood, it's mostly geared towards African Americans. You know what I'm saying?
Abortions, Plan B pills.
And I think right now why they have such a big problem with parent
Plan.
if you look at it, black people, I think our race are more against abortion. I think they're more inclined to have their kids. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Because they have a special bond. Black mothers have a special bond with their kids, even though, they're not here physically.
Right.
But when that process starts,
You start to feel the love that's what's inside.
Exactly. And I think over the years they looked at it like it depends on what are you taught as far as growing up and stuff like that. I think in the white community is looked down on to have a baby out of wedlock.
Yep. And before a certain age.
Right, before a certain age. So I think they gear to more their career, that they're pressured to this fact. You can't have kids because you stop your career, your education halts and stuff like that. You put yourself in a bad situation. So I think they are more inclined to have abortions than African Americans. I think African Americans, we look at it like whatever situation we get ourselves into, we're push forward.
We all, granted, once we came over here, it was more of a Bible type setting.
Right.
So it was a religious setting that they forced upon us, and killing your baby is a sin.
Right.
And they were stern to that. So the OGs, the grandmas, the great grandmas, the great great grandmas, they pushed that agenda. Oh, you had this baby, you pregnant. Oh, you having this baby, you having this baby. You not killing this baby. Most elderly people do that.
Right.
Why? Because it was trained to them to do that. But when it was trained for them to do that, it was back in slavery time where those access babies will be slave owned.
Yeah.
You feel me? So and we just kept that from generation and generation. You feel me? But now in this day and age, you got to pay attention to it. First it was slavery, then it was segregation. Then from segregation, it was what? Mass incarceration.
Right.
So back then, keep the father out of the household, but the father was fighting to still stay in the household. Once the real fathers, separated from the household, what do we have? Strong, overly strong, independent women.
Well, you got to look at it. In that era, the women's rights wasn't part of the black movement for the simple fact that the black
that was
woman,
years down the line.
The black women never had a problem with women's rights.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They had the same problems that we
were having. That's
civil
true.
rights.
That's true.
And if you look at it, it was always a difference between the way black women got treated in the home to way the Europeans, got treated in the home. So that basically was their fight that was added on to, our fight, which, I mean, to me, it didn't make sense because it created separation between, black families.
So the whole agenda is to kill off as many black men as possible. We're not the only ones that's doing it. It's not just in the homosexual movement. It's through cop killings, through black on black killings as well. You get more black on black killings than you do cop killings and through the homosexual movement. It's just that correct me if I'm wrong, I may be wrong, please forgive me, the LBGQYN movement is so powerful now that it's a mass takeover.
Where you get the QYN at?
Queer.
Shit,
I don't know. Whatever.
I mean, shit.
Whatever it is, like I said.
They add a different letter
every
month. I can't keep up with it.
Because so many of them choose to be defined by a specific word, or a specific title. What? So all they doing is adding it in. Lesbians, queers, gays, transgender,
and see,
homosexual.
With me, and I talk to many people from that community. You know what I'm saying? I know people from that community.
Right.
What I try to express upon them and get them to understand, okay, I understand your movement and I understand your fight for equality.
Yeah.
But you got to understand when it comes to civil rights, that's something we've been fighting for years.
Forever.
And still haven't, you know what I'm saying, made any progression. I feel we haven't made a significant enough progression.
It's one step up, two steps back.
Exactly. So, I mean, when it comes to that, what is the bigger agenda? Because this is get pushed so hard. Because basically what they saying right now is that, okay, if you heterosexual and you speak out on homosexual, you know what I'm saying, it's basically that you're a racist.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's hatred.
Yep.
But you got to understand, I mean, as a heterosexual male, I've been raised that way for years. And it's not that I look at anyone that's homosexual any different. I just have my own belief.
This is what I explain to people. I was raised the way that I was raised. The style that I was raised in was in your generation, bro. I had uncles. I had 4 or 5 uncles that I was around heavy, and it was just my mom. Then I had my stepdad, who was my little brother's father. But we were always taught that. I gotta watch how I say this. We were always taught that is man for woman. You feel me?
Right.
And even back then, when you were coming up, it was homosexual acts going on, but it was just swept up under the rug.
Right. It wasn't.
It wasn't as bad as it is now.
Well, I wouldn't use the word bad. I say it
right.
wasn't. It wasn't as public
Perfect.
as it is. With
Perfect.
things like the internet and
Social media.
Social media.
Yep.
Things are put
magnified.
right. I mean, if you look back before, the internet really, took off. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have that vast amount of knowledge about a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? That, you take it back to different eras. You know what I'm saying? Before computers, they had encyclopedias,
Right.
or they learned things in school.
Right.
Now everything is so easy. All you gotta do is push a button.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
And you get flooded with
That's
information.
true. That's true. And what they doing now is they making it so public to where they exposing our kids to it, and they have a hidden agenda because my kids don't need to see that act. Let alone a man and a woman kissing on a cartoon or a boy cartoon and a girl cartoon kissing. They definitely don't need to see 2 women cartoons kissing and 2 men cartoons kissing. Why? Because you're confusing the art of our children.
Well, I think it's such a push to make it
It's definitely on a public platform.
make it into mainstream society where it's the norm, because for many years it was dubbed as a mental, mental issue. So I mean, anyone that said if you were a male and you felt that you liked the company of another male, or you sexually related to another male,
Right.
that was considered a mental illness.
So do you feel like you can be born gay?
I mean, I had a situation when I was younger, and as a younger father, my daughter's best friend, he used to hang around, and I used to tell people back then when they were younger. I mean, I'm talking about maybe like 6, 7 years old, just by his mannerism and the way he act. And I used to be like,
Dog gonna be gay.
Yeah, he's gonna be gay. And people would be like, why would you say that? You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you tell? I'm like, if you look at certain mannerisms about a person, and I'm not gonna say it's for all people, because they had this thing called I can't think of it. I mean, metrosexual or something like that. Metrosexual. So somebody can be metrosexual.
And I was that's what I wanted to get to, because you could grow up metrosexual and still be heterosexual in your metrosexualness.
Exactly.
You feel me? But growing up being homosexual and then continuing on through that route as homosexual. I feel like you cannot be born gay because it's not instilled in your DNA. If it was instilled in your DNA, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of slack for this,
right,
then you will have to consider it as an illness, like we do Down syndrome,
right,
like we do asthma, like we do autism.
So you feel it's by choice?
It's
a choice thing, or
it's definitely by choice.
I mean, I'm conflicted with that, because when we say by choice, you know what I'm saying, we got to look at the overall, because by choice means
I choose to wake up in the morning and put my shoes on.
I mean, but really, if you say by choice, I'm like, do we really choose the person we love, or do we love that person because of so many different attributes of that person? So it's not necessarily a choice, it's a combination of things that might.
But how? I mean, sometimes I can be stern on the way I think. But in this nature, in this animal, how can it be anything outside of by choice when, like I said, I choose to wake up in the morning and put my shoes on? I choose to have sex with Carmen, Celeste, Nigeria, whatever female. I look at Perez, John, Carlos, Smith, and I choose to say, oh, they're my boys, they're my bros, or I don't know them, I don't like them.
Right, but see, that's when the choice come in. But as far as feelings and emotions are not a choice. You can't choose your feeling and emotions.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I can say all day, if a woman diss me, I'll be like, I can hate her for dissing me.
But you still gonna have feelings for her.
I still got feelings for her.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? I can choose to hate her,
But you put your
my
feelings in that
feelings
pot.
are different. But feelings are different because feelings are something that you really can't control. You know what I'm saying? You gotta look at it. You can't control your feelings.
But you put it in that pot.
You put it in that pot.
You can control your feelings.
I don't think I can control if I like this woman over that woman. I think it got to be a certain type of feeling.
It's a
It's
type.
not a choice.
It's a type.
I mean, it could be a type, but is a type a choice or a feeling?
A type is a choice. I see this. I like this. I see that. She caramel complected.
I think it's a balanced line. You know what I'm saying?
It's definitely we definitely on the Libra scales.
Yeah, I think it's a balanced line because I mean, I like a whole lot of women. You know what I'm saying? I like a whole lot of women.
Oh shit!
But I love my wife.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, you know, my wife passed a few years ago, but she was different than
any other woman.
Any other woman that, you know, I have encountered as far as my history of dating and just being with women. I'm like, you know, I like women. I love women, but that feeling.
Y'all see his face? What you thinking?
that feeling with her was like totally fucking different. You know what I'm saying? That feeling with her took over totally different. So it's like when you encounter certain people, whether they be women or men, it's that feeling, that emotion that take over. I don't think it's necessarily a choice. I mean, we can be raised to be heterosexual, but that feeling different.
But then you got guys and women. I don't just want to bag on us as men, but the show is demasculine and black males, right? But then you have those ones that grow up and then flip the whole script. What about those?
I mean, and that's why I say, you know, okay, if you look at homosexuality as far as in the, you know, the 2000s, okay, is it a way of life or is it just a fad? You know, sometimes I gotta ask myself if it's just a fad because
it's so popular.
I meet people
mainstream
that was gay in 2010, but now 2020, they got a whole family. I'm like, what happened? You know, 2010, you was
strong
just
gay.
And I supported you. I'm like, oh, okay, if that's your choice, I'm with that because I'm not basing, you know, my relationship on you and how the way I feel about you due to your sexual orientation. I'm basing it on your character and who you are as a person and your word and your loyalty to, you know, whatever that we, you know, have, you know what I'm saying, in that mix. So 2010, I supported you. You came out. You said you was gay. You know, I bumped back into you 2020. Hey, here's go my wife, my kids, and shit. I'm like, I mean, I'm the one confused now. I need help.
What I hate is through media concept and the social economic of being homosexual through the homosexual fad that is not just pushed on and forced into us and mainstream, but more so the fact that it's being wear down on our children.
Right. I mean,
Dwayne Wade.
The push for our kids. But let me ask you this question. And this is just kind of hype.
Watch.
You know what I'm saying?
Watch.
What? So this is just kind of a scenario.
Wait.
So think about it like this. If, and I'm gonna put it like this, okay? You got two black people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Two black males.
Right.
So you got two black males, a heterosexual male. You know what I'm saying? Police pull him over, jump out the car and run.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So in the midst of him running, the police shoot him in the back.
Mm-hmm.
He's heterosexual.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Second, homosexual, black male. Police chase, he jump out the car, he run. Police shoot him in the back. Which one do you think will get the most outrage?
The homosexual male.
And I agree with you on that.
You want to know why?
Enlighten me.
Because the LBGYNQ movement is so powerful that they own such a mass percent of the social of the media period, the whole media outlet. So once you bang 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 as a cop to that homosexual male, yeah, the heterosexual male will be put in entwined with it, but it's going to be so much emphasis on that homosexual male.
And that scenario right there shows you the difference and the separation, because the separation comes in the view
LGBTQ plus. That's what it
plus?
is. Thank y'all. LGBTQ. That's what it is. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you, Brianna. Beyond blessed, Brianna. Thank you.
All right. And see, that's where the separation comes into view, because you have two African Americans, but one, because of their sexual orientation, is pushed harder than the other. So if you look at it from a civil rights manner, it's separated, because no longer this is talking about African American civil rights. This is talking about gay rights. You know what I'm saying?
Which they are fighting so
hard. I mean, if you look at civil rights, let's go back to the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. We've been fighting for century upon century upon century, and civil rights is a fucking joke.
When did the LGBTQ movement become so powerful? Do you know?
I mean, it really just been a couple of years.
Obama era.
I mean, it's been a couple of years, and I mean, it's like
became
right now.
so powerful.
And the one thing I don't like about it is, and this is just me personally, I don't like about it is, if you stand up for being heterosexual, you criticize.
That's
and
true.
You label. Okay? I mean, I have no problem with somebody saying that, hey, I'm homosexual, I'm out, you know, and this or that, or whatever they stand is. Because I feel like everybody has the freedom of right to be to who they ever want to be.
True.
But as a parent and as a father, I have a right to what my kids watch, and I censor that.
True.
I have a right to their understanding, because these are my kids. Just because the world says that certain things are okay, I don't have to agree with it.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? But
so would you give them, and I'm saying this because, like I said, homosexuality is being brushed into cartoons and commercials, and would you give them their own TV station?
My thing is that I'm a big supporter of freedom of speech. I mean, I think it's up to us as parents to basically censor what our kids see, what our kids watch.
I mean, but
what
shit
our
is
kids
in the goddamn
understand.
cartoons.
I mean, that's still our
I put Paw
responsibility.
Patrol on for my son, and the two dogs, the male dogs, kissing. What?
But the thing is, we got to be aware.
Now they trying to make a gay Spider-Man.
We got to be aware of what our kids see. We got to censor it. And also, we have to have conversations with our kids. My generation, the big thing was nobody talked about anything. You know what I'm saying? It was just a hidden factor. You learn from peers.
That's true.
You learn from
Going
just
through
living.
it, right?
We have to sit down and talk to our kids and let them understand certain things. It don't have to be to the point where we need to get off where somebody else is teaching our kids. We done became such a lazy nation. We became such a lazy society, a lazy people, that we put in people's laps to teach our kids about their heritage, their sexuality, who they are. See, I don't brush that line. I teach my kids everything. I teach them their heritage, teach them their sexuality. I teach them who they are. I teach them basically what I expect from them as a father.
Okay, what if one of your daughters, come up to you and say, Dad, I think I want to be homo. Women decipher it different.
I mean,
she want to be a stud.
My way of looking at it like this, and I thought about it many's a time and plenty's a time. I have 4 daughters, so I look at today's world the way it's, the way it is. And one thing about a kid, you love that kid the moment that kid is born,
conceived.
You know what I'm saying? So they sexual orientation, I might not like. I don't like it. Might not like it, but I love my kid. You know what I'm saying? So I might not agree with their lifestyle, which I mean, my parents probably didn't agree with my lifestyle back in the days. You know what I'm saying? But they love me. You know what I'm saying?
So would the love outweigh?
Yeah, the love will outweigh. You don't have to agree with it. I mean, I have even heard people be like, don't bring that to my house. But that didn't change the way they feel about their kids. They just didn't accept the lifestyle.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
They didn't accept the lifestyle, but they love their kids. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, anything that's abnormal to what we feel that is normal, it takes time
to adjust. See, but it's different. What's that shit called? It's not stereotype. Whatever. It's different between men and women though, because as a son, like I have a 9-year-old son. If my 9-year-old son, and I base my whole family, my whole livelihood from being a parent on legacy. What? So if I got a 9-year-old son and I'm looking forward for him to taking over everything that I accomplish and leave forth, bro, how can you do this? Because you cannot procreate. You can only have recreational sex. How can you procreate and have a Dayline Jr. to take over for when I give you to you giving him? You can't.
I mean, you can't, but I mean, at the same time.
So therefore, you're killing our nation one by one.
I mean, you might look at it like that. I might look at it like that, but they might look at it like you love who you love.
That's true. I understand that, but at what point do it become survival? What point do we stop being selfish and say?
Well, I think they look at it like, you know what I'm saying? It's like they look at it like this shit ain't the coronavirus. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I'm saying? This shit ain't no virus like I touch you and you gay. They look at it like this. It's people that live my lifestyle and it's people that live your lifestyle. My lifestyle ain't stopping motherfuckers from reproducing. You know what I'm saying?
Why they not?
Because, I mean, if you look at it like this, you got classes. And if you still got, say if it's 50-50, okay? It's 50% that's homosexual. It's 50% that's heterosexual. The birth rate is still going to continue. Because it's not stopping because...
But not at a rapid rate.
I mean, that
the rate is strongly decreasing.
I mean, they look at it like, okay, what are we racing for?
This is what I say.
Majority instead of the minority.
Because right now, if you look at the population and the census that's released every year, right. The African American culture has the mass majority.
But
America.
But who's more worried about reproduction?
Say it. Who?
Europeans.
Thank you.
Because if you look at it by 2035, Europeans will be the minority. African Americans will be the majority.
So why do we? At some point, you gotta say, I cannot be selfish because it's what I want. Because it's what I want, and think.
But
Think
at
think
the same time,
think universal.
I mean, at the same time, people are not looking at a whole. They looking at
Self.
the way they feel. Self, they feelings, the way they feel about certain situations. Then I say it's a slippery slope, and I say it's what you call Pandora box.
Uh-huh.
Now, reason people ask me all the time, like, what do you mean when you say it's a slippery slope and it's a like a
Pandora's box.
Pandora's box. And I say it like this because when they declassified homosexual when they declassified it as a mental illness, they saying that that's just regular feelings and emotion. So if I'm a pedophile and I'm sitting back and I'm like, okay, when y'all gonna declassify my shit from a mental illness and classify it as this is just how I feel?
You might as well.
So I mean, there now we on that slope because we say, okay, for years y'all said being homosexual was a mental illness. Now it's not a mental illness, and this is stated in the psychology. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? What they consume to be. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Mental illness, not mental illness. So if you look at it like that, they saying, okay, y'all just said, for the last 15 to 20 years that homosexuality was a mental illness, but now it's not. It's a feeling. Okay, where's our shit at?
You might as well compensate us just like you compensate
because
them.
I mean, if you saying they shit is just a feeling and it's okay, then because being pedophile is just a feeling and it's okay because this is just the way we feel.
Thank you. So therefore, you choose to make this decision. You choose
to a certain aspect, and I even feel that way with churches and shit. And I get into it with a lot of preachers because I mean, I'm just not for the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So if you're a preacher of mine and you for to be a pastor of mine and you telling me that, you know what I'm saying, for the last 10 or 15 years, you've been teaching me this, then all of a sudden, because it's morally accepted, now you're on a different path. And now you telling me, oh, well, God don't judge. Okay, but you've been judging for the last 15, 20 years. Goddamn.
I remember it was one point where homosexuals could not enter a church.
Oh, because they preach heavenly. Adam and Eve. Not Adam and Steve.
But now
it's a money issue.
Because the let me get it together.
Now, if you're a preacher and you not rolling with the moral compass, you don't get compensated.
Thank you. And your congregation slowly but surely decline.
So you got to get on board and you got to ride that ship because you want that money.
Because this is your livelihood.
Exactly. So
So now you got to accept and become. You got to accept and you got to become okay with the fact that the LGBTQ movement is more powerful than God.
God damn, when you say that, I just be like, we need a chalkboard.
Hey, look, I keep going to the same. I swear, I keep going to the same one, and I'm like LGBTQ, bro. Because it's hard for me. What they say, they own half the motherfucking alphabet. Shit, I don't know.
I mean, they have like gay pride. They had like
you got gay pride, but you don't have African American pride.
They had like foot washing, and like I say, I don't care about your sexual preference. I care about the person that you are.
I care about both.
I mean, I'm not that inclined to say that unless you're a woman. But I'm not that inclined to say that everybody want to fuck me because everybody don't like me.
But it's not about.
So
it's not about.
I feel that every gay man is not gonna want to fuck me, and I'm cool with that.
It's not about. It's the bigger picture.
I mean, the bigger picture is that, I mean, yeah, we have some misunderstanding about homosexuality, but at the same time, that was an important thing why I wanted somebody from that community to be here to kind of like, you know what I'm saying?
So if you are from the homosexual community, please chime in.
To kind of
Because we
get their
confused.
input, you know what I'm saying? But my thing is that it's no different from African American to a European American. European American saying I don't like black folks, and a black person saying I don't like white folks. I believe that, you know, it's all systematic, because long as they have us
Propaganda.
fighting between each other about what is right and what is wrong, we're not looking at the bigger picture. You know what I'm saying? And by us not looking at the bigger picture, that means all types of other shit is going on behind the scenes that we're not even paying attention to, because we so busy fighting amongst each other. You know what I'm saying?
We taking each other out the box
Exactly.
to the point where there will be no more box.
So I tell people, you know, do you. Be the best you can, but be a stand-up person. Because I don't care about who you choose to love. What I do care about is how you take care of business and how you present yourself.
So how do you feel about Dwayne Wade and his antics? Well, I don't want to call them antics out of disrespect. How do you feel about Dwayne Wade and his situation
I mean, me being
with his youngest son?
me being just straight up heterosexual male, and if I have a son, I can understand that you feel a certain way, that you think that, you know what I'm saying, you might want to go a certain way, but we'll cross that road when you 18.
It's this one
But
person.
in my household, we dress as men. You know what I'm saying? We
But
act
shit, Dwayne
as
Wade
men.
don't dress as a man. Fuck.
I mean, he might be metrosexual.
Okay, dig this. This is how I feel about it. I feel that Dwayne Wade, not Dwayne Wade the athlete, not Dwayne Wade the future Hall of Famer, the basketball player, the NBA, Dwayne Wade the father. We have to separate those, because motherfuckers is doing what Dwayne Wade doing already. They've been doing it. It's in the motherfucking TV. But it's so highlighted that Dwayne Wade, because Dwayne Wade is a future Hall of Famer and an NBA player, whatever. But take Dwayne Wade from take Dwayne Wade from who he is to just being a father. As a male, you are, and I understand that he's in that Hollywood world where it's impossible for Dwayne Wade to just be a father without those people in his ear.
Right.
The ones, those higher ups talking to him and doing this, because Dwayne Wade's son came out a while ago. I think like 2 or 3 years ago.
Well, you got publicists, you got damage control.
You got all of this stuff that's watching over Dwayne Wade, and all of these other groups of people, the higher ups. I'm talking about the governments that's watching over Dwayne Wade.
If you go against it, what is the repercussions? Because nowadays, if you're not in tune with the movement of the LGB, you know what I'm saying? If you're not in tune with
LGBTQ.
Okay, yeah. If you're not in tune with that, you know what I'm saying, that could make or break your career.
And it can. And it can stop him from being a Hall of Famer.
Because, I mean,
so therefore, that's
anytime-
why I think he's
Right.
more okay with
Anytime they have
the bigger
gripe,
cause.
anytime they have a gripe, that's a career breaker. I mean, that's a call for action. You know, and I say that to say Kevin Hart. I mean, he's a fucking comedian. I mean, anything he say is a fucking joke.
Richard Pryor made a whole bunch of gay jokes.
I mean, that's what he does. So by him making a joke in 2008?
Yeah.
I mean, now we talking about 2019. Here it is. Somebody dug all the way back
To
from the joke
2008.
he made in 2008, and it came to the point where, okay, now you can't host the Grammys because of this joke you made in 2008 unless you apologize.
Again. Because the ones that forgot, he had already apologized.
First of all, he shouldn't have to apologize anyway. It was a goddamn joke.
When did America become so sensitive? They wasn't sensitive when they was whooping us across the motherfucking backs.
I mean, this sensitivity is to every goddamn thing.
Everything now.
I mean, like, you can't even raise your kids no more.
I can't whoop my son without, I can't chastise my son without somebody saying, oh, child abuse.
I mean, it's just pretty much a great old American ass whooping if you ask me. Shit.
Now we leaving
Some of these goddamn kids need it.
I agree. Now we leaving it up to the motherfucking the media to raise our kids.
I mean, if you
and
think
see
about
what that's leading to.
Think about it like this. Oh, I can't whoop my kids, but if my kids go out there with that arrogant ass attitude and mouth off to the police, you can beat them down.
No, you can shoot them.
Yeah, you can beat them down, shoot them, break their neck.
Now that you know what they trying to fight for? The shoot first, ask questions later law.
Yeah, I mean,
for the police.
You know, that's ridiculous. I can't whoop his ass for him to take responsibility for the things that he doing. But you can go out on the street, put him in a fucking chokehold, beat him down, 5 or 6 of you and your partners jump on somebody that's like 120 pounds.
Freedom of choice.
You know.
So therefore, if I can choose to beat your son ass, your son can choose to be gay. Yeah. And it's okay.
But I have an issue with that because, I mean, the court system tell black males all the time that their child cannot choose. Their child cannot choose daily in courtrooms. Mm-hmm. I sit in these courtrooms, especially the friends of the courtrooms. I sit in these courtrooms and I listen to these cases. And I hear judges say daily, especially down at Coleman Young,
Frank Murphy.
You know, they say to these fathers, your kid cannot decide where they want to live because they're not old enough to make that decision. So if my son tells me that, hey, Dad, I want to live with you. I think it's a better living. I think it's a better fit to my life. The judge tell you, oh, your son can't make that decision. He's too young. 12, 13 years old, 14 years too young. We can't even have him in court to discuss this issue. But at the same time, my 7-year-old can tell me that, hey, I'm gay.
I'm gay and I want to get my dick cut off.
And I want to put on a dress.
And I want to walk around in heels. But Mommy, can we go and get our nails done?
And you got people that dress the young black males as women at these young ages. I mean, if they can't make a decision of who they rather live with, but they can make a decision on what their gender should be, I don't understand that. Because, I mean, if you're making a gender decision, you should be able to make a decision on where you should live.
So, look, Carmel Brown said, we have to open up and listen. A lot of children are scared to talk to their parents, which is true. Me personally, I think that, hypothetically speaking, if my son was to come to me or my daughter, they would be scared to have that conversation with me because they know how stern I am on it. Do I disrespect? Do I neglect? Do I push down? I don't disrespect that community, but the community that I reside in, I uplift. I hold with care and caution. I protect and I love.
But at the same time, if you're a father and you're an understanding parent, regardless of your views.
Was your mama understanding?
Certain things. Was my mother understanding? To a certain point.
My way.
My
you gonna do what I said. My house, my rules.
Yeah, I mean that was always
implemented.
Implemented. You damn sure right.
Thank you.
Always implemented. But I mean, at the same time, she always left an open line of communication. If you want to talk about anything, you can come to me and talk about anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you set the stage to the point of we need to talk, we can talk with no backlash. I mean, I had to follow the rules of the house. That was 100%. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't get around that. But as far as conversation, if if you pull that card, it's non-judgmental. We talking then. It's not about breaking a rule. We
Okay.
talking. We communicating. And that's the same thing I have set up with my kids, my daughters. Okay, at any time we can talk. Breaking rules is something totally different.
Right.
You breaking the standards of rules that I set for the household.
Right.
That's non-negotiable. But if you call a meeting, that's non-judgmental.
Right.
Because you coming to me in a conversation that you need to have with me, that you need to talk. So I can't be judgmental with that for the simple fact that if you have any other problems, you won't come to me.
Right. That's understandable. That's a way to keep an open line of communication. That's a way to keep an open line of communication. But me personally, I agree 100-fold. And if we have that meeting, I will not judge. But once we exit that meeting, I'm going to pull you to the side and I'm going to say, what is causing this?
I mean, yeah, we all look at that.
Everything is a cause and effect. When you, an action begotten a reaction.
Right.
I had somebody who said a lot of these children are going about this way because they were molested and raped as a child.
And that might be so. And I mean, working the fields that I have been in and talking to different people and been around people, yeah, that has been a big thing in especially our community, because our community is so hush. You don't talk about what happened in the household.
What goes on at home stays at home.
Exactly. So a lot of kids back then didn't have an outlet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or if it was a situation where a single mother, you know what I'm saying, was dating a man, and that man
touched
the
child,
the mother choose not to, you know what I'm saying, really research or go into it because the way they cared about that man.
Right.
But in today's society, I think it's looked at different because, you know what I'm saying, the problems that we had of the past, of people not paying attention and listening.
That's where that open line of communication comes in for me. So if a man, if anybody, I don't care, man, woman, touch my son, daughter, whatever, talk to me.
Exactly.
And let me deal with it as your father, as your who? As your father, as your who? As your protector.
Exactly.
If I'm gay, not saying that I still can't protect, but where are the birth lines? So now I'm shorting my family line short and my generational heritage short because I'm stopping right here. But then you got some of those guys who had kids and then turned gay, or so I guess it is other avenues.
I mean, like I said before, I don't, personally, I don't think it's stopping the bloodline for the simple fact that, I don't know the data, I don't know the stats, but I still feel that you have more heterosexuals than you have homosexuals. You know what I'm saying? I mean, will it increase the birth rate if everybody was heterosexual? Yeah. But is it taking anything from us? I don't think so.
To me, it's making our culture weak. So everything is based off generation.
I think it's weak as perception because some feel that with the increased amount of homosexuality that we won't have a masculine black race.
I'm not even going to say masculine. I'm going to just say that father figure in their household.
So you think it's masculine homosexuals?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they pretty much caught them down lows. I mean, if you look at it, I mean,
because it's so much that's out here that they what's the word I'm looking for? It's so much out here that they go by titles and names and things in that nature where it leaves the door so wide open that only they know.
And I don't think anybody should be down low. For the
be who you
fact.
are.
Yeah, be who you are. I mean, you know what I'm saying. If you bisexual, be bisexual. If you gay, be gay.
Can a male be bisexual?
Can a man be bisexual? Yeah, a man can be bisexual. I mean, I feel that anything that the mind can imagine, anybody can be. I mean, when they say shit, you know what I'm saying. Explore your imagination.
So I can be Flash.
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
I can be Superman.
I mean, you can try it, but if you
I can
run
be
off,
Aquaman.
if
So
you,
let me dive in the ocean and tell a shark to come here.
I mean, you can try it, but it ain't gonna work out for you.
Thank you, motherfuckers. Like, this shit don't always work out.
No,
for
it
real.
don't. It don't always work out, and sometimes it has.
And it's not always right. Just
No,
because
exactly.
Just
Just
because
because
it's
you can
accessible
do
don't
it.
mean that it's right.
Exactly.
I can walk out and kill anybody. That don't make it right.
Exactly. I mean, it doesn't, and I say that's why we look at that moral. We look at society as a moral sense of what's right and what's wrong. Because I mean, if you think about it today, in today's generation, we don't have our own mind.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? If you look at it, it's other people telling us how to dress, how to act, who to be, what you should be like, how to move. You know what I'm saying? It's like we losing our individual,
Individuality.
exactly, because I mean it's mainstream.
That's true.
Whatever the majority say
Go.
is right. That's right, and that why can't I be the motherfucker that don't follow the crowd?
It's once you separate from that crowd, then you become awkward.
Then you become the black sheep.
That's what it's for. Don't be afraid to be that, man. Don't be afraid.
When you step out of what everybody feels,
the norm is.
the norm is you the black sheep, because nobody's understanding your views. Nobody's really trying to pay attention to what you're saying, because you're not appealing to the masters. So when you're not appealing to the master, you are the outcast. You are the black sheep.
This is why I feel that as a race, we will lose, because this is why I feel like as a race we will lose, because at the end cause we will do whatever it takes to get what's set out to be okay. Was set out to be popular. The Benz, the big house, the Louis Gucci Fendi Prada bag. You know, now you see a whole lot of women going to get the tummy tucks and the big butts and all of this, the wigs and the weaves, instead of being
the thing about
naturally
it
who
is,
we are.
with our race, when they put the women over the men, that's when we went sideways, because what they did, they target the black women for a reason.
Yeah. And
You
it's
know
not,
what I'm saying?
and through this movement, you're right. Through this movement, it's not a target against the man. It's a target against the black woman, because the black women are the stronger, they the stronger being in our race. Exactly. Without a black woman, black men are nothing.
So it's like, if we could turn the black woman against the black male, we pretty much kill the race.
Facts.
And see, the worst thing that could have ever happened to the African American community, the worst thing is desegregation.
Oh!
Desegregation.
Hey, stop. That's a whole different conversation. That's
the worst thing.
That's a whole different conversation. Stop. That's episode 25. Motherfuckers going, I know they sitting up there like, desegregation, why? I would want to go to McDonald's. It's deeper than that.
It's way deeper than that. Economically,
socially,
everything.
mental.
Exactly.
Like, it's
the worst thing I heard within this last week, they had a vote to bring African American history into a school, and they voted it down. So, I mean, they voted it down. Why are they so big on stopping?
Because then it'll tell you the absolute truth.
Exactly. And see,
and then it will empower the black male to do what he's supposed to do.
And that's the thing about with our community. We don't like to hear the truth. When I tell people the truth, and I'm so blunt, and they be like, you are like one of the meanest persons that we ever encountered. I'm like, why? If I'm truthful? If you ask me, are you fat, and you fat, I'm going to say, yeah.
I'm going to say you fat.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm
if you
fat.
ask me how this outfit look, it's my opinion. You ask me for my opinion.
What you doing, you're exercising your freedom of speech.
Right, so I'm going to give you my full-blooded opinion and tell you what I think.
But once you cross the line and you say, if somebody say, I'm gay, do you like me? And you say, no, nigga, I don't like you because you gay. it's a problem. But the European can say, no, I don't like you because you're black. The European can say, no, I don't like you because you're fat and black. But anybody can say what they want to say unless it's directed to LGBTQT. Unless it's directed towards them, you feel me? And then it's frowned upon and you insulting them.
I think it's more heavily weighed because, I mean, like Dave Chappelle said, you know, when they came to him, they basically say, hey, Dave, look, you can't say gay on the show. And he was like, why not?
Thank you. Go ahead.
And he said,
we're going to close with this.
They said, because you're not gay. He's like, but nobody has a problem when I say nigga on my show, and I'm not a nigga. That spoke fucking volumes. I mean, anybody that said
no,
back...
stop. He said nobody says nothing when I say nigga on my show, and they say, well, you are black.
But see, to be an African American, to be a black male or a black female, that should have spoke volumes. That should have spoke volumes, because in America, it's basically saying it's okay that we call you a nigga. We call you nigga all day. Yes, a black nigga, no matter you got money, no matter you're broke, you're still a nigga.
What Jay-Z say? Still nigga.
Still a nigga.
It's
but,
okay to be whatever you want to be instead of being black.
Right. I mean, but to be gay, you can't go around calling nobody gay, homosexual, faggot. What the fuck wrong with you? You got a problem?
You better watch your mouth. You better watch your mouth.
I mean, that's frowned upon. To me, I mean, with the 400 years plus, and you know what I'm saying, that word nigga, by this time, shouldn't be used by nobody.
But then you got to understand what the word nigga means. Nigga was derived from the word niggas, N-I-G-U-S. N-I-G-U-S. The ones that don't believe me, please research it. Nigga is actually kings and queens.
Yeah, but when it's used in a slur,
it don't matter, because then you got to take it back to the root.
Right.
Is, isn't, is not. It's compound words.
And you know, like I tell people, a lot of our culture has been stolen. You have to take that culture back, because they took our culture and made it to some evil.
I don't call white people nigga. You know how some black people be like, what's up, man? No, I'm not gonna call you that. Why? Because I'm identifying you as the kings and queens from Africa and Ethiopia. The Ethiopian, the Sudan. I'm that's what I'm identifying you as. No, I'm not. I'm gonna call you nigga. Why? Because I identify you as that king and that queen from that area. Why? Because we're all from there.
Yeah.
That's the motherland. Where's the motherland? Where we all originated from. Now we do have those ones that decipher it out and then claim that land and then birth their own heritage and their lineage there, but it all started in the motherland. So therefore, my nigga to you, when I call you, Perez my nigga, Perez my king, Sade my nigga, Sade my nigga, Sade my king, my queen. There's nothing wrong with that. Right. But I would never identify a European as a nigga or niggies, N-I-G-U-S. Look that up. But hit that music. We 2 minutes in.
2 minutes in.
Yes, man. Hell of a conversation. Another good one. Another good one. Another good one. Make sure, like I said, make sure y'all subscribe to us on YouTube at Any and Everything Podcast by Two Kings. Make sure y'all subscribe to us on, make sure y'all add us on Instagram, Any and Everything by Two Kings. And the ones that's not following our Facebook page, make sure y'all follow our Facebook page, Any and Everything Podcast by Two Kings. And even if y'all want to follow us individually, Yusunoff Jackson, Dejan Higginbotham.
And if you got any questions, even after the podcast, just ask the questions, and
please
we'll answer.
Tag it. Please put it on our podcast page, and we'll address those questions, good or bad.
I've been in the mix since 1994. 45 caliber.
Who's
that peeking through my
window?
I guess you niggas got the
wrong info.
Fucking with me, you better know what you been for. I will catch you niggas slipping, make this family think you missing, have them kicking out that ransom for the info. Pull up on the block in the bad motherfucker, wearing all my I see him, I duck him. They say the fans watch, still yelling out, fuck him. I